You're no stranger, of course, to the continent, having previously served as the U.S. representative to the African Union.
That's correct. Indeed, my whole family is not a stranger to the continent. My father, Dr. Reuben Brigety Sr., was one of the first volunteers with Operation Crossroads Africa in 1963, where he served in what was then Northern Rhodesia, now Zambia. My wife was born in Ethiopia and emigrated to the United States at the age of 4 after the overthrow of His Imperial Highness Haile Selassie. And yes, I have served in multiple capacities, both in Africa and on African policy over the course of the last couple of decades.
You come to us at a time when perhaps there's uncertainty about the world order. The post-World War II, I suppose, configuration of the international system, some will say, has never been shakier.
Well, I think there is no doubt that we are facing a plethora of crises around the world today, from obviously military interventions such as the case of Russia and Ukraine, tensions across the Taiwan Strait, but also quite serious economic issues, some of which are a result of those geopolitical tensions, others of which are a result of the continued recovery from COVID. And then also, quite frankly, just the continued legacy work of ensuring that everybody in the world can live a life of dignity and provide for their children and see a future for themselves. And those are things from health issues to economic development that the government of the United States continues to be committed to, and also clearly here in South Africa.
The rise of the influence of the Chinese and Russians on the continent is undeniable. Would you concede your country is perhaps losing the fight for hearts and minds?
We don't see this as a fight for hearts and minds. One of the things that I think is quite palpable about this current moment in Africa's history is that, one, 50 years-ish, 50, 60 years, broadly speaking, after the independence movements that swept Africa starting in the 1960s for the most part, you're seeing a real renaissance, 2 to 3 generations onward, in which African nations are choosing for themselves their own destinies. That includes choosing their own partners. We in the United States are deeply committed to the vision for Africa as Africans have defined for themselves, for example, through documents like Agenda 2063 through the African Union. We believe that we are very strong and committed partners on the same value set that, again, Africans have defined for themselves, and it's up to Africans to decide what they want in their partnerships.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions,
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.